G'day guys, welcome to the Eurasian night stream. How is everyone? Good to see. There's a few people that turned up. Nice. What's Blinky's? That was Blinky's. Oh, is he going to get on top? I'm on time. Yeah, I was here earlier. I was just piss farting around, jumping around, trying to actually get my milk ready. Can you see it? So I got my milk ready, warm milk. I've got my brie, just starting to eat into that. I got my kombucha, the 0 sugar, 6 calories or whatever. I got the Roy glasses. You know, they're here waiting. A bit later on, it's still a bit early. It's 6 o'clock. I'll whack them on a bit later on. You know, this does about 50%. So about 7 o'clock, I'll put them on and we will shift. Because even like daylight savings is 6 o'clock. It would be normally 6 o'clock right now. 5 o'clock right now. So at about 6 o'clock, I usually shift to this pair. So that's in 1 hour time. Blinky, you got to remind me. I could forget. You know how forgetful I can become once I get involved with a live stream. Yeah, some music. I did check it out. Oops. And yes, that was the countdown and all that sort of stuff. Is that all you got, mate? I feel for you. Yes, top shelf, Blinky, top shelf. What else? French. Live at the France. I'll make a mess of that. Viva, la France. Yes. Nothing like French brie, Blinky. Nothing like the best stuff. Shit, that's cold, Melina. You're freezing your butt off. No, it's nice and warm down here. We sent all the bad weather towards Vivid Mouse, towards Richards Way and Bart's Way. So it's all across the Tasman now and literally giving them a bit of a cold chill. Yes, towards the end of the week, we will warm up even more. So, yes, we had this really cold front that just remained over Tasmania and Victoria and the southern part of Australia for some time and then didn't want to leave. Then eventually left. Now it's over New Zealand and it's sitting over there doing that, whirling around New Zealand. Yes. He's got nothing. So he envies you even with basically just having two-month-old cheese. Yes, good to see a mouse eat its cheese. Otherwise, we would have said, "What sort of mouse are you?" G'day, Angela. Yes. Yep, it is quite early for you, Blinky. You know, you've got the midnight oil to burn then. Plenty of hours to go. Yeah, look, we had some really bad, a lot of wind and some thunderstorms, like really wild thunderstorms. Actually, one of them was so loud, it's sort of, creating so much wind and all that. Woke me up at night and I'm going, what the hell's going on? So I know a few work colleagues had the same experience that I had. So, well, in Perth, Western Australia, there is no bloody rain. You hardly get any. My sister's over there, and she's basically indoors in an air conditioned, so she's not. You guys still about 40 odd, or have you dropped below that now? 40 Celsius, that is. And 40 Celsius in terms of Fahrenheit. Let me just get the Fahrenheit. That's 104. on the Fahrenheit. So 42. I think they had 42 one day over there, which is 108 Fahrenheit. So, yes. Old Blinky was out there roasting. Yeah, not a problem. You're welcome. Oh, 36. Ah, yes, yes. What's it? 36. So that's 97 degrees Fahrenheit. Yes. Well, there you go. So Blinky's nice and warm over there. Portable aircon, bathroom ducted out. Those little portable, look, a large, I do have a portable aircon that I can move around, but the really small ones, which now they're advertising, they're absolutely shit. A friend of mine actually, because his son's actually in the police force and he's actually in training at the moment, and he took somebody down there in one of the actual little rooms that they actually sleep in. They actually had one of these, and it just really underperformed, didn't do much at all. So yes, I don't think they're that flash or that good to waste your money on. From the experience that I've heard from the really small ones, the portable ones are fine, the larger portable ones, but the real mini ones, yeah, they're pretty much, they just don't have the capacity. What do? You fan yourself off all day. Bloody hell. G'day, Alex. Good to see you, mate. -1C. He's freezing his butt off, isn't he? Which part of the Netherlands are you? I actually did forget last time. Were you in the capital or elsewhere? So, what's that? -1C. So that's basically 30 degrees Fahrenheit. So for everyone else that is on the Fahrenheit, the rest of us on Celsius, so -1 degrees is 30 degrees Fahrenheit. So Alex is truly north part, aka north part of the Netherlands. Gotcha. So you're freezing your ass off. I hope you're indoors and you're not on the patio listening to me on your mobile phone. Fair enough. Yes, yes. We should get, hopefully Bart's still eating, so he said he's going to potentially drop in. So we may still get Bart K to drop in, and we'll talk some shit like we did earlier. In that regard, he'll probably have Teddy on, and Ted will be telling him what to do and what not to do. Yes. He had the whip out as well. No, it was very colourful. We just didn't ask him enough pressing questions. I expect you guys to really press the flesh on the questions, and Blinky, and you held back. What was you? You're getting soft or something. What's wrong with you? Ted needs a vax. He needs more than that. He needs a straight jacket and he needs to be locked up. Screwed my diet over the holidays. Did you, Richard? Eating all wrong foods. I can bet. Now going through the carnival adaptation period all over, including trot. Okay. Fair enough. Shit happens. I didn't overdo it. Actually, the only stuff that I did actually abuse over the holiday season was alcohol. That's it. I didn't sit around eating fruit and, shit like that and just got guzzling down all sorts of sweets and all that. No, I just basically, the only abuse that I did do was a bit of alcohol. Actually, I had a pretty good session. We went through some vodka. There was another one, tequila. And I did have a period. I drank a certain amount of ciders, and then the rest of them I just sort of, I did go through them. I sort of switched. Had a couple of ciders, and then I sort of switched to spirits, back to vodka and all that, because I go, because when you've had a lot of, quite a bit of food and all that, you go, Nah, I'll go back to spirits. Much easier to drink. Yes, fair enough. Had to work to do breakfast. Yes. Don't worry. You are not a vegan, Vivid. That's right. You're right, Alex. He's not a vegan. He's a carny mouse. So he's got no issue. Pasta, alcohol, you name it. That bad. Okay. You really went off the rails. Fair enough. I'll just have a bit of brie. As I'm waiting for Bart. Yes. That is definitely going off the pasta. I mean, that's shit, mate. Why would you bother with pasta? If you're going to cheat with something good. Like, I'd be cheating with something like, some like baklava, the Greek baklava with all the honey and all that. I'd cheat with something like that. I wouldn't cheat with pasta. God. What are you doing? The alcohol, yeah, I'll cheat with alcohol, baklava, and things like that, but not with pasta. That isn't food. That's just kibble, mate. That's just kibble. Dog food. Look, I don't have much of a sweet tooth either. To be completely honest, I do prefer. I mean, like soury type or savoury type foods rather than sweet foods. So, but baklava is one of those. As long as it's not with sugar, where it really just tastes. It's got grittiness. You're not supposed to have it. It's supposed to be done the traditional way my father used to do it was with honey. So you create this really deep syrup and it just become permeated. And Dad used to make also the rounded cylindrical type, which is a Turkish version of the baklava, where the Greeks and the and basically the Lebanese and all that have the sort of the flat type, where you cut it, which is slightly different. The Turks also put like on theirs, they make another one, which is a flat-based one, and they actually put, I'm trying to remember, pistachio nuts. That's right. I think the Persians as well, the Iranians do that with pistachio nuts. I think that's where the Turks got that type of variety from the Iranians, because first as they came in from Central Asia, they moved into that area, and the first culinary sort of influences on the Turks were primarily from the Iranians. Just a historical little thing. But it's a different type. But if, as I said, if I'm going to basically cheat, I will basically cheat on that. Yes, exactly. When I win the lottery, you can drag me off to Greece, Harry. Greek food is awesome. Why not? Yes, traditional Greek food, let alone, yes, you could. I could take you around quite a few places around Greece where they actually have like real good stuff, like the different cheeses that they have varieties. Yeah, I really at some stage I really need to do a sort of a cheese thing of Greece, So I'll get there with all the other things that I need to do. G'day, Dave. Good to see you, mate. How's the weather in Barcelona? I better have another bit of milk. Baby needs his milk. Big baby, that is. Wipes it off his face as well because he makes a mess of himself. What a baby's supposed to do, Fapnado's here. Good, mate. Yes, a milk drinking fairy. Yeah, exactly, mate. Exactly. Nothing like it, mate. Nothing like it. Cheese. I put it in the same cup as the actual Oops. Oh, fuck. That is nice. And I've got my brie flappers. Good French brie. G'day, Dom. I'm just hold on, before I choke myself. Sorry about that. Before I choke myself. Oh, it's the raw milk, but I put it in the actual same cup as I used before in my coffee, and I think it's actually just made it a bit darker because of the pre-existing coffee in there. I didn't actually wash it out, as you can see, which is probably lazy on my part, but yes, that's the thing. And yes. How's it going, mate? Good to see you, Sosa. It's been a while. Oh, good. I know that some of my relatives on the west coast, it's always damn cold because it's mountainous. But on the islands, where my sister is married, my younger sister, Milos, which is one of the islands there, they've had a few really nice sunny winter days as well. So it's been good for them. Like you, Mouse, if you get rid of Christmas excesses, yep, we've all been doing that. That's true. Gatwick. Okay. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I know where that is. Yes. Yeah, you got that. Yeah, I've actually, I've actually ordered, the ones, some additional stuff. I've got some of the others, but I sort of didn't order it at the right moment. So hopefully next week, because I've basically missed out a week, I'll get it next week because I plan to do it for basically because I've done it 2 months. I've got another 2 batches for another 2 months, and then I'll do it. So I'm doing it for 6 months. That's my maximum. My mate Sean, he's done, and Kim, they've both done it for 8 months. And so, bloody hell. And they've done it for 8 months, and they've really seen the difference. They're going, their digestion is really, really good. They're really happy with it. So they can't thank me enough, so to speak. They just want to see whether it persists after they finish after that period of time. I'm going to do it for 6 months and then see how that goes. I've also got the oral stuff. I've always had oral problems, and and particularly in the bad old days where I had a lot of fillings, a lot of damage to my teeth and all that, unfortunately. And so this the new one that's come out now, which is that Japanese lady that was had really good teeth, even though she was a centenarian. So I'm getting I've got 2 of those as well. I know it's quite expensive because it's nearly $40 a pop. So just those 4, it's about $160 just for 4. So it's not cheap. Let's put it that way. So, but I want to do the oral one for at least 6 months, and do the other one, the gut one, for 6 months, and then and see how all that pans out. So that's my plan. I've noticed a lot of people that had greater problems, so it's really hard to work at. All I can say is when you look at the quality of your digestion improves, so that's a bonus. The poop quality improves, and that's what everybody seems to see as well. So because it's fighting off a lot of the pathogenic stuff, C. diff and all sorts of things. So if you've got a lot of pathogenic stuff, you will see greater effects and greater results. And that's what basically Necro saw, she had like 2 years of this basically not being able to take in nutrition well, really get bad gut health. Even though she was on a carnivore diet, hadn't resolved her gut issues. She still had a lot of diarrhea here and there, and it was resolving slowly. It can take up to 2 years to resolve gut problems with the diet alone, because you have to heal slowly and to rebuild your, because you're fighting against the pathogenic bacteria that are, to try and rebuild your gut, a good microbiome and all that. But by basically taking this and suppressing all those nasties and allowing beneficials to come back, and I would say even with B vitamins will increase that, accelerate that over like 3 months, and vitamin D would actually accelerate that, which means you'd be able to restore a good microbiome much faster. And it's the sort of strategy, I mean, I don't have to do the B vitamins because I've done that in the past, and I don't have to, and I haven't had antibiotics or anything like that since. So I don't have to do any of that stuff. I get enough vitamin D. So the only thing that I'm just trying to optimize, where other people are trying to come from a very bad situation, like Necro Kitty, and she's, I suspect once she actually gets her gut microbiome in order and starts taking in nutrition, her body composition will improve as well. All these things will improve for her. It's just a matter of time. She's in that early stage. She was basically caught in a situation where she would have to do carnivore for multiple years in order to resolve this. And this is a quicker hack. So she's taken that stuff on board and reduced the amount of time. That's all it is. I mean, the diet can fix you, but it takes time depending on how much damage you've had. So, why not use biohacks and accelerate that? Where you would get a lot of good B vitamins from animal foods, why don't you basically push the level, suppress the pathogens, push the sort of growth factors, the vitamin D and the B vitamins, to improve those beneficial bacteria, the bifidotypes, to grow and take root, and then basically, you're back to some normality, which is the obviously what we all want to be, as close to normality, and then do little biohacks here and sort of try to modify some of the elements here and there in order to get to that next level, which will set us up for into our old age to be much healthier and to enjoy life, because at the end of the day, we want to have the energy, good mitochondrial health and body health to be able to enjoy life in the later years. So we're not still struggling. Anyway, let's move on. Yes. And in my high carb days, used to tuck into baklava in the south of Bulgaria, where there's a lot of Greeks and Turkish influence in the food. Yep, exactly. Yeah. Yes, you definitely would have in that sort of environment. Oops, I've just lost my spot. Thank you, StreamYard. Put in there, go into raw milk and make yogurt. Tastes absolutely wonderful. Yep. Necro Kitty's done that as well. She was into that sort of stuff. So, yep. Yeah, look, a number of people that have actually done it, they say yes. Some have done it in different, both in when you make yogurt. Yeah. So, the end of the day, yogurt is a sort of a much more acidic place, and all lactobacillus grow in acidic mediums. So whether that environment or a food medium is acidic, they will grow. Yeah, look, that's, as long as you're basically, you've got, this will just take you to the next level. And that's what other people that have done it have actually noticed. Put it in a bottle, leave it in a hot press over that, and voila. Yeah, look, everybody's higher fat is much better, you know, in general health. Yes, it is much better. You know, our bodies work much better with a higher fat. That's what our ancestors pursued. If you're trying to build tissue, obviously you're going to require more protein. And the best protein for that is basically eggs. Like the amino acid availability in terms of eggs is much higher than even, it's about, I'm trying to remember now, 50, I think it's 56 or 57. Can't fucking remember. Hold on. That's right. Not 50, 47. Fucking hell. Useless, eh? So the actual uptake by the muscles. So what the muscles uptake in terms of the amino source from eggs, it's the highest. It's like 46% higher than beef. You know, so eggs are really one of the best. So don't only eat muscle meats, don't neglect the eggs. Really important, especially if you're trying to build muscle mass. I need to, at some point, do a video on that, having to do with how much nitrogen secretion and all that. It has to do with your amino acids, the way they're actually, the utilization of them by muscle tissue and stuff like that. In the best in there, where milk is much lower, but what you get from the milk component is the whey component in particular, and the anabolic effect. That means that spike in muscle protein synthesis. That's why I like combining milk and eggs the old-fashioned way the bodybuilders used to use in the golden era. Yes. Don't have. Yep. Well, unfortunately, ask a friend. Maybe they have something like that you can lend. I think so. Yeah. Sometimes they're businesses that do basically provide that service or rent or whatever. You know, it depends. Yes, Indy C, good to see you. Hi as well. And yep. Yeah, it's that warmth that helps those bacteria growing. Doesn't have to be hot, but warmish. That's right. I mean, just think body temperature. How many degrees? You know, so it's not hot. 37 degrees isn't hot. So around about there, you know, just a good environment to grow for bacteria to grow in. So in that regard, oops, just lost my spot. Thoughts on manganese, please. Chris Master John says, we miss out on carnivore. We need it for mitochondrial health. Actually, no, because we're not actually using, like sugar. When you're using sugar and you're going primarily, you're pushing through complex 1, that is a much more energetic pathway. So yes, you do need more manganese if you're basically on a sugar diet. Yes, that is definite, because that part of the mitochondria actually is via what comes through the glycolysis. So, but that's complex 1. So, so it's not a big issue for carnivores. I don't know what is based. Show me the science, I would say to Chris. Challenge him. Say, where's your science? Demonstrate. Show me mechanism. There's none. That's bullshit. But if you're concerned, add a bit of crustacean in there, a bit of seafood. That's pretty good. Mussels in particular. Make a mussel soup every once a week. That'll sort you out on that front if you've got a concern, Sosa. That's what I do anyway. I usually have crustaceans, oysters, mussels and stuff like that at least once a week. Yes. So, but I think, Kelly Hogan would disagree with him, and she's been doing it for quite some time. And I think a number of other highly carnivorous populations around the world have been doing it for some length of time. Our bodies, actually, I'll give you a little secret. If you've checked out my videos on, you know, some of the minerals, magnesium, potassium, and all that, the excretion rates and all that, a lot of these minerals, when the body actually is suboptimal, it actually recycles them through the kidneys. It actually reabsorbs them. So, you know, unless you're severely depleted, that may be a problem. But generally speaking, we use less and we're able to recover. So it's not a non-issue. That's why I always challenge these people when they make these statements. I say, show me the mechanism. If you can't show me the mechanism, you've got no argument. You've just got speculation. And I find that Chris nowadays does a lot of speculation on this. Oh, it could be this or could be that. Well, you know, it could be fucking anything. It could be a Martian that just popped in and did it. You know, that's not science. That's just speculation. And I don't see any carnivores. You know, we look at a lot of the carnivores and their blood works and stuff like that. They look fantastic. So I go, where's the issue? And I remember the lady in New Zealand, I forget her name now. She basically is a nurse, and I think they put pressure on her from her work environment. She pulled out. But she actually did, she had been doing a number of years the carnivore diet. And she actually, I'll ask Bart because I can't remember her name. He remembers her. And she basically did a blood panel. Vitamin C was in the normal range. All these minerals and manganese and everything was in the normal range or slightly above. So there was no issue whatsoever. And she'd been doing it for some time. And she was a nurse as well. So, yeah, I think it's just bullshit. People make things up. And as I say, you can't basically derive information. You can't look from a carnivore diet is not the same as, or an animal-based diet is not the same as a plant-based diet. The type of nutrients you require, you need more vitamin C. Why? Because you've got impedance and GLUT4 receptor. So you're competing to try and get vitamin C in. Very hard with so much glucose running through it. So you get very little vitamin C, but that's all you need. But that's why you have to overload that receptor with vitamin C to try and force it in. And that's why some people who are like people, let's not forget, people that are basically, diabetics, how many of them that are supplementing vitamin C, and I know, and they're getting basically, not only sort of gangrene and all sorts of things and other problems, but also getting low-grade scurvy, even though they are pumping through, the supplements and all that, because it's not getting through. There's insulin resistance at the receptor. So it's completely bonkers. Thiamine actually drops to half your requirement. And if you're eating a high thiamine food, which is pork, you've got no problems, absolutely none. But even if you're not eating pork, which I would say, why not? What's wrong with you? Even if you're just eating beef, you're still getting enough thiamine. Unless you have an underlying disease state that you're coming from and you need a supplement to correct that, and it will take time on the carnivore diet to build up to that level. Niacin, again, a lot of pork, great. Tuna, great for niacin. Unless you've got specific conditions or trying to do certain biohacks, the only thing that actually we require, which we get shitloads of if you're eating an animal-based diet, is riboflavin. Really important. And also very important for basically detoxing, also for your endogenous glutathione as well. I should do something on that just to explain the importance of riboflavin and how we get shitloads in our diet and how great it is for our antioxidant, carny capacity that everybody seems to basically think, oh, you're eating too much of this and, you're going to be, you're going to have all this oxidative stress. Bullshit. Anyway, I should do a video on that. It pisses me off, all these things. I have done a thing on the electrolytes because it started pissing me off. I started hearing it all the time, and I need to do something on this as well. Anyway, g'day, Zombie. Good to see you here. You're earlier. You're earlier than Bart. He hasn't turned up yet. He said he was going to turn up, but he still hasn't turned up. Dusters for him. And please remind him, T1, that's one of your jobs to basically Yeah, you think basically that our primitive ancestors basically required Chris to basically provide them with exactly the nutritional profile and supplemental needs to basically survive. What a load of... Our body's like a Swiss Army knife. It's got multiple pathways and it has it's got buffering and compensatory sort of pathways. If it was that complicated, you just need to get the shit out of the diet. You get the shit out of the diet, the body starts working properly. You need less supplementation and anything like that. Chris now has become like a guru in supplements. I've seen a couple of his and I'm going, what? Or where methylation stuff. I mean, you've seen the video that I've done on methylation. I actually show a randomized control, a clinical study. When you actually change the riboflavin, the enzyme starts working as normal. It fixes the whole problem. There is no MTHFR issue. It's a myth. And if you hear Chris, he's going, "Oh, you're going to need to up your fucking, folate, your methylfolate and all that." And I go, "Well, if you do that too high, you'll end up creating a B12 deficiency because it overuses the B12. What do? Then supplement B12. I mean, where does it end? It's just nonsense." He's lost his way. Some of his earlier stuff was really good in the paleo times and all that, but now he's just become Mr. Supplement and, how can we basically give you this or that or whatever? It's all this sort of like what I call naturopathic or ND managed care. You've got basically the MDs who are basically trying to offload drugs on you and the naturopaths that are trying to get as many vitamins into you and minerals, whether your body really needs them at that level or not. Continuously is a different issue. It's just basically their way of monetizing their services, I think. If you go to the doctor, to a general practitioner, and they're not offering you a drug, why waste your time going? And it's the same fucking thing with naturopaths. If they're not sticking some supplement into you, they think, "Oh, I'm not doing a proper service." You only need emergency care when it's really a problem, and just fixing initially a supplemental deficiency. After that, just eat properly, species appropriate, and you'll be fine. Yes, I put the pan with the yogurt and make a top of my water heater, perfect temperature. Yep, sounds good. Raw cream supplier. Do we know any raw cream supplier? Yes. Don't know whether Dom's come up with an answer for that. I don't even know what the rules are in actually there. Whether I know in Australia it's really illegal. Yep, it's very restricted, which is a bit of a hassle. But it's sort of. Somewhere in Ireland, mate. Probably would work as well. It's always an option. Jam a tight cupboard. One idea would be to strip the insole from the top of the cylinder. Okay. Let's not go too radical, Richard. Let's not go too radical. Let's not start doing damage in the home. Okay, Midlands. Oops. Oh, thank you, StreamYard, for losing my spot. Where am I? No, oops. There I am. God. Yes. Hi, Bjorn. And you could buy yourself an electric yogurt maker. Look up the website Raw Milk Island. Okay, you guys actually have. You got you don't have all the restrictions on raw milk and raw cream and all. What a wonderful. I need to move to Ireland. Australia's fucking so regulated. Drives me up the wall. Yes, far too regulated. The polar vortex causing a lot of cold weather this winter. Yes, yes, yes. And we don't know why it's happening as well. Would it have to something to do with that extra, with the reversal of the actual, the axis, the polar reversal, which I've been talking about, and the weakening of the poles, the magnetosphere at the poles? Would that have an effect on the vortex moving around? I wonder why. No, it's carbon. Nothing to do with the with that issue. Nah, it's not the solar, not the reversal. That's bullshit. That's just Harry making it up. Yes, yes. You guys are going to freeze your asses off up there. Yeah, I think a lot of people do. Unfortunately, they do. Yes, one way of calling him. Yes, 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 definitely. Yes. Oh, you mean Bjorn? I mean, think of Greta. What's wrong with you, mate? Poor Greta. If she hears about this, she'll be devastated. That poor little girl. She's undernourished as she is. She still hasn't hit puberty, and basically finding out that it's not really happening would devastate her. How cruel can you be? Another boat somewhere. How dare you? Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Maybe. She doesn't. Yeah, I mean, no wide hips and no boobs. I mean, yeah, there's an issue there. Definitely a hormonal issue. It's the kill cult diet. Yes, nothing like kibble. Next, they'll be promoting it, even though she's graying. Her hair's actually graying at that young age, and she's aging very rapidly. But next, I'll call it an elixir of youth. If you start it early enough, you'll never grow out of it. Or what can one say? Oh, you never know. Oh, fappers. Oh, I bet you'll be on OnlyFans if Greta turns up. You dirty little dog. Finally found MK4 500 microbes iHerb America. None found in Ireland. Ugh. Really? I'm surprised. You can actually, on the Australian, the Canadian iHerb, you can actually find 5 milligrams or 15 milligram versions. So I don't know where you're looking. Is that all they're offering on the Irish? Oh, damn. For you, Angela, I will actually put some links. I'll look for some of the links of the 5, the higher doses, and I'll put a comment at the end after this is finished. I'll put a comment there for you, so you've got some information, some links, because that's pretty low. If you want to do like a proper hack for a while, you need to go a bit higher than that. It's a bit too low. I can get that more than that from food if I push I forgot the brie and a few other things. Precisely. Very much. Even basically, Western A Price, he understood that as well, the importance of fat-soluble vitamins in development. Yeah. Thanks, Alex. Yeah, that's the Carlson one, Angela. So that's the 5 milligram one. And there's the other one also that's 15. Well, Dom's been able to get it on there. You may have not Googled it properly. If you actually put MK4, it doesn't bring it up for some reason, but if you put MK space and then the 4, it does. It creates a longer list of the vitamin supplements. I don't know. It's something to do with the way their search engine works. It could be that. That's why you sort of missed it. Yep. Yeah, it probably is that. So if you click on that, the one that Alex put up, Angela, you will go directly. It'll change the NL to the Irish one, and you'll go straight to it. Middle-aged lady. Yeah, fair enough. Yes, she's only a big corporation tool, yeah, basically. Poor girl, you know. She's being used and abused, unfortunately, and her health is being really damaged long term. She's going to have a lot of health problems, unfortunately. Good luck, mate. Good luck. Yeah. I've got good genetics to handle coffee, and so I'm not going to give it up. And it's not causing me any issues. So not a problem. Doc said, I'm going low on folic acid due to being celiac. So it's given me tablets. They made me feel bad. So I stopped. What do I do now? Riboflavin, mate. Riboflavin. Take a riboflavin supplement. And you shouldn't be on folic acid. You may not be able to convert it. You may be a poor converter like me. I convert all my folic acid into cyanide. Not a good thing. So you need folate, methylfolate. Very different. You know, or foods that are high in methylfolate, like liver, like eggs. Those sort of things should be in your diet. And if you've got a gut issue and stuff like that, you need to fix up your gut microbiome. You need to do some bone broths and all that, and eggs in particular, because the sort of nutrition in eggs really helps rebuild the actual, those mucosal layers and your gut as well. So yes, get off the inflammatory stuff and get some eggs into you and stuff like that. Okay. And if you want to send me an email with a bit more detail, I could probably give you a few extra pointers. Anyway. Yes, Nefs is around. It's good to see him. Work time of the year. Got to go in the cave. Fair enough. Raw milk is legal in Ireland. Oh, the government made a few noises about it, but no ban so far. Dairy is huge in Ireland, I know. Yeah. So any bad news about milk can impact the brand. Yes. It's good when, you know the old saying, when an academic or a government or has an interest in something, they ignore all the stuff. Isn't that how funny it is? But, I mean, the population is nearly 100% lactose tolerant. Doesn't have, you guys have got lactose persistent genes, the highest in Europe. Actually, the highest in Europe in terms of lactose persistent genes. I think I showed the research ages ago on one of my live streams. So you guys are really lucky in that regard. So it would make no sense why your government should do anything stupid like that. But then again, we live in a crazy world. We live in a crazy damn world, mate. Yes. Got too many crackpots. People have been eating that way for, thousands of years, no health problems. And now all of a sudden in the 21st century, milk's bad. What a load of crap. 16 say over tonight with Fam sent her with some fake fish, vegan slop, cooking lamb for the rest. It depresses me. Oh, yeah, God. Yeah, what can one say? Poor kid. Yes. Can't tell you what to do. I know what I'd be doing and what I'd be serving up to that kid anyway. But yes, I understand you've got a relationship, you don't want to, but I wouldn't give a shit about that. But anyway, that's me. I just wouldn't tell them and have the kid coming around having a few meals with us to basically avoid the destruction to its body. Yeah, fuck, drives me up the wall, these people. Local farm, 20 keys away. About taurine, I heard Andrew Upman, neuroscientist, say high doses cause microvascular bleeds. His eyes went red due to high consumption of taurine and enriched energy drinks. Thoughts? That's absolute crap. That was the high caffeine. They actually had high caffeine and a number of other things in it. That's what it is. When it comes to neuroscience, I mean, what do they mean by high doses? If you're talking about, like, I've seen the equivalent dosage of 20 grams with no problems whatsoever, equivalent, and massive positive stuff. I mean, I used to do 6, and now I only do 3 because I only need to do 3. I've fixed up my heart. So my heart had some fibrotic tissue, so it had some damage, and that was 10 years ago. And then for a decade, I was doing about 6 grams, and now I've dropped down to 3 grams, and because that's all I need, because once I got back the report, I've probably been on 3 grams now for, it's probably more cost saving because I get enough from some other sources. But some of these supplemental stuff could be much higher, and we don't have any research on that on much higher levels, on like mega dosing. But I haven't actually, even when I'm seeing the animal studies on mega dosing, there's no problem. So, yeah, I'll look into it. It intrigues me when people come up with some stuff. Sometimes when I look into it, I realize, they are not very bona fide, or they may be talking shit. So taurine is really important for the brain. It's really important for your balancing your electrolytes, really important for basically, managing the way your heart works, preventing, your heart from, reducing a number of heart conditions, improving the structure of the heart, preventing remodeling due to continuous cardio and all sorts of things. The benefits go on and on. It's got antioxidant properties and, support a number of important, metabolic pathways. Muscle protein synthesis is enhanced. The transport of aminos is enhanced. So the utilization is better. That's why some bodybuilders use it for that reason. So, one after another. So if somebody's got some underlying conditions, maybe certain combinations of very high dosages, but remember these were basically in energy drinks. Okay. And I know that high caffeine can actually cause a lot of these sort of problems. So is it the taurine or the caffeine? And there's an association like the LDL association. So I need to look into the stuff before I make a comment. But what I've seen in terms of research, I haven't seen anything like this. So I think it's just bonkers crap, you know. And just because there's taurine in energy drinks, I've heard a lot of crap about taurine being a problem, but that's just crap, because it's not the taurine, it's the other shit in the energy drinks that are probably the problem. So yes, that would be my answer to that. And I would say to somebody, show me the mechanistic study that shows taurine alone, not in an energy drink, taurine alone actually has deleterious effects. There's none. I've looked, believe me. And that's why I came up with those high dose of 20 that I'd found, 20, grams. Massive, even higher than that. So, and I would never recommend that high. And the reason, let me just tell you why I wouldn't recommend that high. Because it pushes blood pressure very low. That's why I wouldn't recommend it. Such high levels. And some people do suffer from low blood pressure, and you definitely wouldn't give them those sort of levels. But that it causes these sort of nah, no way. That's just garbage. Yeah. Oh, that was the temperature stuff that we were talking about before. Oh, you're being bad, are you? No, that's nothing new. Veganism, the Peter Pan diet. Never grew up. Oh, yeah, Greta, yes, definitely. Never grew up, the Peter Pan. Yes, very much. A nice one. Bjorn, I love that. Made me laugh. Tastes much better with the stuff I got in there. Okay, fair enough. The Birdall market, yes. Not a problem. Yep, which was that one. Yes, thanks to Alex putting it in there. Blinky's sucking up again. You know what he's like. When it comes to women, he always sucks up. He's desperate. He's a desperate man. I've got what's the name? Price Nutrition and Physical Degeneration hard copy. Oh, you got a hard copy. I've got a digital copy, but not a hard copy. Yes, I did actually try and find a hard copy, but I never was able to. Exactly. Yes. His language is quite colourful from that era back in the 30s. It's not the sort of language we use nowadays, but that's the way they talked about these things. Yes, it should be. Actually, it should be. But unfortunately, it isn't, and that's why our doctors have got no idea what really causes physical degeneration. They think everything can be solved with a pharmaceutical. Yep. Give them a pill, that'll do it. That'll fix them. Yes, only dysregulate them further. K2. Well, excessive doses make blood clotting, not with MK4. With K1, yes, and even some of the other Ks, like the other menaquinones, like K7. That's why I don't recommend it. One, it doesn't convert very well, and it stays in the bloodstream for far too long. And I don't want things staying in the bloodstream because they can interact with other things in the bloodstream and can be a problem. So K1 is in the liver, creates clotting factors, which you need. Don't get me wrong. Too much is a problem. Too little is a problem as well. Vitamin K, MK7, menaquinone 7, which is the K2, which is from the natto stuff and all that stays in the bloodstream for far too long. That could have problematic effects. MK4 just gets sucked by all the tissue. You can throw shitloads, and the amount of time it stays in the system is very little. That is how bioavailable it is. That is how quickly all the cells in the body suck it up. So it doesn't even have the time. Just even if it had, let's say it had an effect on clotting factors, it doesn't stay long enough in the bloodstream to basically have an effect on. That's the thing. And that's why they criticize it. When they do tests, they give people, and half an hour later they're taking blood tests, and they say, there's bugger all in there. There's nothing. They can't even detect it sometimes. So it's out of the system so quickly, it's taken up by the tissue so rapidly. It's not a joke. That is why if you look at all tissue in the body, especially the brain and the heart, it's filled with MK4. It's just saturated. Every single animal on this planet is saturated in their organs with MK4. That is how critically important it is. And that is why it doesn't stay in the bloodstream long enough to do anything. It just gets sucked up by, you can, and I've seen mega doses. I mean, doses way beyond anything you're thinking about that they've given, and it's just like a sponge, the whole body. So when it comes to MK4, don't even think about it. It shouldn't even cross your mind, because if it doesn't stay in the bloodstream, for not even half an hour, what's it going to cause? Absolutely nothing. Even if it did, it will cause. And we're talking about mega doses, and nobody's seen any clotting factors increase at all. So, and if you're concerned, just add a bit more retinol to your diet. That basically reduces the amount of clotting factors. Fibrinogen is actually reduced by retinol. So anyway, let's move on. Definitely not. It was not at all. Absolutely not at all. Not all keys are the same. I think I've covered that to the nth degree. Exactly. Yes. Definitely doesn't create an issue. Not whatsoever. Somebody's been listening to what I've been saying for a very long time. Very good, Richard. You're a champ. Vegan, fake fish, gluten, wheat, flour, potato, starch, maize, flour. Oh, it's giving me a heart attack just reading it out. Asian bisphonates. Oh, great. Dextrose, veg oil. Oh, without a veg oil, it wouldn't be a fake meat. Soy, pea. Oh, yeah, soy, obviously. Fiber, pea fiber. Oh, yeah, that's all we friggin' need, more fiber. Smoke flavor, more shit. Chemicals made in a lab. Multidextrin emulsifiers are probably maybe soy lecithin, which is probably one of the less egregious emulsifiers, but still can be problematic to the gut of a child. Too many emulsifiers creates your mucosal layer in your gut can actually be broken down by emulsifiers. Not a good thing if you don't want leaky gut. Put more emulsifiers there to give you leaky gut. A really great boost. Yummy. I want to destroy my gut. Please give me more emulsifiers, mummy. Yes, exactly. Yes. What parents are doing to their kids is, yep, there you go. Hey, you other moderators, sort it out. I shouldn't be doing that. Beyond. Yes, basically, more vegans trying to create fake meat so that they really create exactly. Yes, what's new? Full of all the nootropics growing child needs. Oh, exactly. Wonderful stuff. The ingredients are top shelf, mate. Top shelf. Yes. Overshot. Yes, nothing. Yes, exactly. Yes, you need to lube the. Actually, Richard, T1 really knows how to use a carrot, and oil lubing. He's a champ on that. He's going to react, is he? He hasn't reacted yet. I'll accidentally fry some fake fish in lard. Oh, yeah, at least the child will get a bit of nutrition. I came back to abuse. Abuse from Harry. Oh, am I abusing you? I've got to abuse someone. I mean, you're not doing much of a good job as a troll. What the fuck's wrong with you? You know? I mean, you're becoming soft in your old age or your young age or whatever you are. Who cares if you're down it? I don't care. Oh, let me find Blinky. Put him on stop. No, I won't do that. Don't worry. Don't worry. Don't get your knickers in a knot. It would be funny trying to put a message in there, not being able to. Yes, I've got a thick skin. It doesn't bother me. Yes, you call me all sorts of things. Flappers calls me a fairy. You call me a wanker. You guys never stop. No wonder Bart is scared to turn up to my live streams. He goes, "You got it. They're out of control. They're like ferals." I said, "Well, you can't take the heat, mate. Don't turn up." It's probably why he's probably listening to this and going, "What the fuck are they on? Drugs or something? They must be snorting some good stuff. I wish." Anyway, let's move on from that statement. Did I actually say that? That was a Freudian slip of some sort. Good one, Harry. I read so much research articles about MK4. This disappears from the blood serum, therefore it isn't exactly because it's uptaken. So that's what they all argue about. They say, "Oh, it doesn't stay in the blood." It's not fucking supposed to stay in the blood. It's required by the cells of the body to do things with it. You know, if it stays in the bloody in there, it's not going to do anything. Yes. Let the moderator handle this. Harry was too quick. Yes. Look at it a second, Harry. Full of the creeps. Richard, he's slow. He's slow. Blinky's slow. Damn. You age, Harry. Your age, Harry. Yeah, little child boy. Yes. Yeah, I never grew out of it. I'm still, childish, as my sister says. But I remind her when she calls me childish, she always comes back to me advice, whether it's financial advice or whatever. And I'm not childish then when I'm dishing out really good advice for her. I pick on her. Younger sister. What else? We're all pretty close from a young age, so we pick on each other. We stir each other up and tease each other like mad. Even my brother-in-law looks at me and just shakes his head. I'm a cheesy bloke. Oh, thanks, mate. I am. A very cheesy bloke. See, that's, I would expect that from T1. He comes up with some, little childish thing like that. Now that's quality. You're a cheesy bloke, Harry, Oh, thanks. Put your grandma glasses on. I will. Yes, sir. I will. Switch over. Shut my eyes and switch over. Oh, it's all orange to me now. Where is that Mr. K? He still hasn't turned up. Anyway. Yes, the Roy look. Yes. Definitely the Roy look. Yes, Orange Man bad. Still hasn't come up. Yep, just came up. Any ideas for dealing with constipation for a person on a carnivore diet? Using plenty of salt water, plenty of water. Hard to say. There can be issues with look, when it comes to constipation, all has to do with the gut microbiome. There's certain types of strains that are missing, that are potentially have been killed off in the past, and even though you're eating certain things, haven't been restored. So one of them, like that Metaflor, the one that is really the antipathogenic one, which is that other E. coli, which is the sort of the non-dangerous one, which actually clears out some dangerous pathogens. That one actually can reduce constipation. There's a video on it on my site. Yeah, Metaflor. That's it. That one actually will reduce. I don't know whether you've tried it, but I did in the past when I was having issues, and I wasn't even on the carnivore diet at the time. I actually was on a paleo diet, and it actually sort of fixed the problem. This was many years back. I tried it a long time ago. But I didn't actually initially try it for that reason. I actually tried it for a completely different reason, and that was basically because I, was going into the tropics and all that, and I wanted something really good at the time. There was nothing around other than that to basically, protect me against certain pathogens in the environment, like that, potentially could cause me problems. So, yeah. That can also, too much dairy can, but if you're missing certain bacterial strains, dairy can make it worse. So when you take out the dairy, it usually fixes it. It's because certain of the lactobacillus strains are missing as well. That's another factor that could be in play. Look, take out the dairy for a while, see whether that fixes it. That means you're missing a number of the lactobacillus strains, and you may have to investigate. There's a number of the actual, we're not talking about, don't get the acidophilus. That just helps with weight gain. But you can actually take a look at some of the others. Anyway, I need to do the video on the ones that actually help with some of this sort of stuff. I still haven't got around doing it. Is couldn't prevent and treat COVID. Joe Rogan had a doc saying immune system needs it. Yep, it's pretty good for that purpose. I've actually got some in my drawer, and I'm still waiting on getting the Corona before I use it. So it's sitting there. It's an eye on a 4. Toe Rogan. Is that his new nickname? Yeah. I haven't watched him for a while, to be honest. I think he's become too commercial, but anyway, that's me. Raw milk makes me too regular. So it's not basically a lactobacillus problem then, if that's the case. So it could be some, it could be a certain other bacteria as well. There are certain bacteria that are required to break down, certain things. So undigested proteins. Just try and actually use some acidifier for your stomach and see whether that fixes it, because you may not be generating enough, like stomach acid. Like, get a HCl, use it, up your acidity to break down those aminos. And if that fixes it, you're probably not generating enough, and play around with that until the body itself self-corrects. Sometimes, it can take a while doing something like that for a while and putting some bile in. Bile can be a problem also. There's another issue. If you've got an underlying, you may not have, for instance, like gallstones, but you may have gall sludge that hasn't cleared out properly. And that can also cause constipating effects. So that could be also an issue. It may be mild, but it's still, now the way you clear out that is with taurine. So you probably have to go about 5 grams of taurine for a couple of months to clear that out. So that could be another option. It's hard to know unless you really test and check and scan yourself and everything else. So that is not meant to be medical advice. So to comply with the YouTubia Nazis. Anyway, let's move on. Milk making you full of it, Tom. See, there, at least he's picking up his game. We have to give him that. Bravo, T1. You know, a bit of quality trolling. About fucking time, mate. He's not on YouTube anymore, is he? Who's that? I'm not sure who we're talking about. Must have been earlier. I must have missed that. Zombie, tell me who wasn't on YouTube anymore. Complex help my constipation. Yes, it does, because it actually rebuilds back the beneficial bacteria that we're all missing because we've been consuming shitloads of glyphosate and shitloads, and I should have thought about that as well, and shitloads of antibiotics in the past that have decimated those key bacteria. And when they come back, they do actually improve the both the gut motility and the gut function. That's true. Nice one. Exactly. That's another reason about fixing up your gut microbiome with B vitamins, which I've been talking about for some time. Thank you, Seaman. And must be part of the regular family. Yep. Yeah. Anyway, now you're not going to give up, are you, Dom? Get in there, mate. Get in there. Boogie with T1. He likes it. He did move to one of those sort of things, didn't he? Yes, he did, I think. I haven't seen him for ages. I'll pin, at the end of this live stream, I'll pin the MK stuff, I'll go through and remind myself exactly what I'm pinning. There's a couple of things that people want me to pin, and I'll pin them all into one comment, and people can go and pick and choose what they need. Yeah, he's not around, is he? Where's he gone? He's gone in hiding. Damn. Usually he's around. Exactly. You know. Yep. Works just twice as hard. He's been he's underperforming. I don't know why. What's wrong with him? Maybe it's the heat. Too much heat over there. Notification. Drew Borg was live a few hours. Yeah, I was actually on his live stream for a while, leaving a few comments, and so was Bart. But I didn't stay long because about an hour before, I had to sort of get my act together, brush my hair from the early sort of thing, clean myself up a bit, and so I look half decent or half human. Yes. Quercetin only from fruit and veg. Can you get it from animal foods as well? No, it's a plant-based compound. And the stuff you get from fruit and veg is so little, it's useless. So you need to get it in a supplemental form. I miss Pim and Harry and the Harry duet. Yes. Oh, look, she's actually working on some material for diabetes. So she's doing a whole course on diabetes and a whole course which looks at diabetes, some of the actual dysfunctions that people have, and a few other things. And that's why we haven't done anything together for a while, because there was going to be some follow-ons that we were going to do, and it never happened. And I actually spoke to, when I not last time, but quite some time back, when I spoke to Bart, he said, look, she's really busy. She's trying to put all this working material together. And so, yeah, once she's sorted that out, she's not too far away from finishing it. I'll get another opportunity, Melina, to get on there and have a bit of a chat with her. And, because we do have very good chemistry. That's true. Anyway, damn. It annoyed. I missed it. Not sure what you missed, zombie. What did you miss? Please tell us. Meat equals food. Plants equals medicine, as we say. Yes. Certain compounds, yes, they do. Very much. Underperforming, eh? You should see the memes on Discord, Harry. I can only imagine. I can only imagine. But you've got time there. You know, you before you turn up on Discord, you know you're planning it. You have a whole agenda set out. You know, I mean, I've heard horror stories, and I've heard Necro Kitty trying to keep you under control. She's given up. You're a menace, as what I hear. Devil again. That was funny. Oh yeah. Hold on, let me just find it. That was bloody funny. You're right. I enjoyed that as well. Let me just find it. Where's the devil? The devil. Oh God. Where is it? Where is it? Should index these somehow. Oh, there it is. Harry Devil is. Oops. Oops. Hold on, that's not working. I need to get it in the other application, which is, just give me a sec. Okay, so okay, and oh yes, yes, and the devil. Oh. Hold on, did we get the audio or did I lose the audio? Did it have audio? No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't have audio. There he is, our local. What does it say? Our local Tassie devil. Oops. Oh, fuck that one up, didn't I? Oh, God almighty. I love the devil. First time I saw it, I really laughed. Yes. Thank you, Blinky, for that. Yes, yes. Okay. Yes. What exercise? Interval, high intensity interval, and weightlifting. Especially weightlifting, much more important than cardio. Once you're over 50, you're trying to preserve muscle mass. You're not trying to basically, become a marathon runner. If you want to die quickly, you don't see any centenarians. And the oldest guy, a weightlifter, he was 95 years old. Remember I showed you guys ages ago. He was still competing at 95. And then for some bloody reason, somebody convinced him to give up weightlifting and to take up marathon running. And basically, 3 years later, he was dead. And to take up plant-based kibble as well. Yes. So, yes, he was dead as a doornail within 3 years after that, even though he was fit as an ox up to 95 and still competing. So let that be a lesson to you. Your muscles you're getting too much senescent cells. You've had a lot of damage, environmental, food, everything else. Your body basically needs to be built up, not to be degraded with chronic exercise cardio. and putting strain on your heart and stuff like that. Not a good thing, believe me. Lift your weight. Do some, I did some jumping jacks just before, 50 jumping jacks before I started, just to get the blood flowing and all that sort of thing, because I'll be sitting for quite some time. Yes. That's high intensity. Exactly. And then you pant a bit after. That's what you need. And then you relax and repeat. And don't overdo it, because you need recovery time, because that's the most important thing for building muscle, recovery time. Yes. I had to block so many channels on Discord, or I would be spending hours there. With Blinky, he's probably got multiple channels running on multiple machines, just trying to troll everybody effectively, You just can't do it here. Yeah, look, I haven't. I've been very rarely on Discord, and even though, sorry, wrong one. And even though I was bloody amateur, that was when I was setting it all up. Is that all you got to say? Yeah, and I'm an amateur. You know that. You don't come here. You don't come here for professional service and professional YouTubia. You come here for the comedy. Get it right. God Almighty, what do you expect, mate? You unemployed or something? He's more than that. He's highly demented. He's got issues. 10-minute work mouse. No class whatsoever. Thanks, Melina. Yeah, it was a good one of Blinky's. Yeah, he did a good job, old Blinky, on that one. I'll give him that. Yes, very good effort. Very good effort. Good morning, Mandy. I suspect Mandy enjoyed it as well. Bit on the cold side in. Yes. I think Melina would agree with that, because a bit cold in Poland as well. G'day, mate. DJ Projectus. Good to see you. And we move on. Yeah, you got a fan, DJ. Can't believe it. I'm at the bottom again. Damn. Better finish off on milk. Baby needs his milk for the night. Gotta say, this actual mug is pretty good mug. It fills about nearly 500, half a litre in one drink. So I'm getting plenty of milk. Nice. Very un-Harry-like. Oh, is it? How do you know? You've been spying on me. It's getting cold. Better drink it up a bit faster. Yes. We had a sort of an earlier session, which was quite colourful. There was 4 of us. Jared turned up, and milk trucks arrived. That's it. Actually, I did come across something, mate. Where is it? Let me just find it. Actually, provide a link to someone else who wanted the information. And I will turn that on. Oops. Not there. Getting the damn wrong thing. And let me just share that. Okay. Oh, let me just get rid of that. The SU57. Anyway, in Finland, they've actually got a Finnish bakery is actually selling insect bread. That's a new development. So I'll just stick that in there. That is really interesting. So things are changing. I mean, in the past, somebody had asked me, you know, if I want to make a carnivore bread, and I said, well, you could probably get insect flour from West Africa, if you know, any stores like African stores and all that, you probably can get it. But now, actually, there are some, you know, I mean, that's not a bad price if you think about it. You know, the sort of loaves and all that regular. I know it's probably a bit different, the pricing and all that. Each loaf contains about 70 crickets, costs about, you know, €4, bit over £3.5, you know, so interesting to see certain things that are starting to emerge out there, you know. So I'm not promoting this sort of bread or anything like that, or bread that combines, you know, because it still had some bread stuff like that, but it could be an alternative, a healthy alternative for some of your family members that are still into that sort of stuff, to basically get a better quality protein and get better nutrition from combining those sort of things if they're eating that stuff. So it's more in that regard. It's not as a recommendation for people to jump onto that sort of stuff for us in our community. But, you know, there are options there. Yes, the milk truck has arrived. Yep. Yeah, the memes on Bart's Discord are fab. Yeah, I know. I can imagine. As long as he doesn't do any of himself. Nude. Yeah, not good. Definitely not good. Yes. Oops. So options are actually opening up for people that are on mixed diets to at least incorporate some better nutrition in there potentially, and some stuff that, and those sort of flours, because it was actually also there was, let me just bring it up. There was this Italian study that basically went into it. So that's the original manuscript anyway. This is the Italian one. Cricket bread, yep. So anybody want to read the study on crickets? Insect farm, yep. So there's the study. You can go away and take a look at it. That was accepted. I did. Harry, did you see Gary Taubes on Macola? No. The good doctor kept banging on about pork being full of linoleic acid and omega-6. Yeah, I know. Crap. You know, I've debunked that completely with all the stuff that I've shown, the research and stuff like that. We've looked at the longevity populations. You saw me talk to Mary, Seed Man, about the Koreans' longevity population, how the granddads consume pork belly nearly every lunch. You know, my father would prefer pork rather. He's 86, not an ailment in sight, very healthy, and he'd prefer pork than any other meat. So ignore, it's all garbage, absolutely garbage. Seed oils, plant linoleic acids, not the same, damaged, the same as animals. And at the end of the day, remember the level of PUFA in pork is identical in quantity, percentage-wise, identical. The only difference is the omega-6 and omega-3 ratios, but that's unimportant because we don't convert. We don't need to basically work through the same conversion pathway. We provide, as carnivores, 100%, and people on a low-carb diet that are actually eating shit, we provide all the omega-6s to be pushed through that conversion into arachidonic acid. And nobody in the low-carb carnivore community or even Macola would argue against arachidonic acid. And we are very good converters compared to pigs. Compared to mice and rats. And even I've shown you studies, countless studies, one after another, how even in rats they can be cancer protective for colon. Bacon, cooked bacon can be protective. I've shown you that. It was the only thing that was protective out of all the other stuff they gave. Even meat, other meats weren't as protective as bacon. I showed you that study. You know, they were inducing cancer in the poor rats, and only the bacon was protecting them. You know, so it's, it's the old, it goes back to the days when people were on paleo diets or low carb diets, keto diets, and they were basically eating a lot of like seeds and a lot of basically, not only seed oils, but seeds, plant-based omega-6s and stuff like that. And that's where all that nonsense comes from, because all the studies are based on all that nonsense. When you look at animal foods, and we know even the Christopher Gartner study that was done, the A to Z study, where they were doing an Atkins, which was basically, bacon and eggs in the morning. It was all that sort of stuff. And these people, their inflammation came down. Everything was much better. That's in humans, a randomized control study over a year, done by a veg-tarded academic out of Stanford University. How good is that? That's not, epidemiology, crap questionnaires and all that and highly confounded studies. It's not a rat study. It's basically a real human study. That and the other one that was done in Israel, the direct study, Atkins versus Mediterranean, high-fat Mediterranean versus the low-fat learned diet of the nutritionists. Again, Atkins came first. Obviously, they weren't using pork in the Middle East. It's basically lamb and stuff like that. But lamb, let me just tell you something about PUFA in lamb. It's 3 times higher as a percentage. You get in pork, it's a third as a quantity. So 100 grams of pork, which is 3.5 ounces, is only half a gram of PUFA. That means total omega-6, omega-3s. In lamb, even though it has slightly more omega-3s, it's still higher. It's 1.5. So when you eat lamb, you will get more PUFA, even omega-6, compared to pork. So how can one be bad and the other not? Do you get no, there's no logic to it. It's just basically we demonized pork and bacon years ago because it had basically, and especially the low carb community and especially the paleo community with, processed meats and stuff like that. And it all comes from that nonsense. And I go to these people, I say, well, show me a study. Show me your evidence mechanism. Don't tell me you think processed meat is bad. Show me evidence, mechanistic evidence, proof. They got nothing, because people who speculate and people who make up shit have nothing. And that is why it doesn't take me long to rip them to pieces. Even Bart, to some extent, sort of, clung on a bit And then I had a bit of a conversation with him, as you guys saw even on my live stream. And after that, we had a follow-on conversations. He now, look at how he talks about. It's not an issue, because there isn't. Paul Mason, same thing. He knows there's no issue. He's looked at the literature, all the science. He can't find anything. Like me, I looked at the literature as well. I can't find anything. It's a non-fucking issue, you know. And I say to people, you find me, you know, and I will eat my words. But nobody else has come back with a study. You know, epidemiology doesn't count because we know it's junk science. And I say, show me a mechanistic study, or show me a study that is a randomized or clinical trial demonstrating that problem. There isn't, not one. So basically, it's a non-issue for me. The people who are probably 10, 20 years behind with the old information are probably, which was speculative information, are probably still there, that really haven't evolved beyond that point, unfortunately. And so still regurgitate the same old garbage with no evidence whatsoever, true scientific evidence. So ignore it completely, I do. And I'm willing to challenge them whenever they like, because I've got shitloads of study that I can pull them to pieces anytime, any day. I'm here waiting for anyone that wants to challenge me on pork. Massive Highlands protects against lockdown. Okay, interesting. Yes. Protocol that mimics the effects of Cerule tablets have. Are you working? Sort of. Not exactly. Look, the more I look into, I've been going down the rabbit hole of the David Sinclair stuff and about the different types of pathways involved in NAD. And the more I look into it, even for a moment there I was saying, CD38, yeah, if we can down-regulate it. But then I actually found that CD38 can actually be protective. It's there for a reason. We shouldn't interfere with it. We can, but we shouldn't, because CD38 increases because of senescence. The more senescent cells you have, more CD38. The body isn't trying to reduce this capacity. It's trying to reduce the over-oxidative stress. So you've got senescence, and it's trying to reduce that oxidative stress, and that's what's happening. And that's what's upregulating this. You need to deal now with the senescent cells. So I'm jettisoning a lot of the other stuff. I've actually moved beyond the NR, nicotinic acid, and all this sort of stuff, and realizing that, you know, that you've got to be very careful with these. High levels are probably not good. And at the same level, there are other strategies you need to take to fix senescence, and then you can actually up these things to a certain degree. So I've changed my opinion on some of this stuff by looking at some of the studies, looking at some of the cancer pathways that are being pushed in certain models, and starting to understand what the purpose of CD38 is. It's not something, we don't know, because that's what they all say. But I've worked out that it's actually a protective system to basically prevent senescent cells potentially becoming cancerous. So there is a reason the body does things. It's not accidental. So we need to fix senescence before we start, and that will naturally bring down CD38. So yeah, it's a very nuanced, you know, because I've been saying, and I was thinking about, you know, and now that I'm realizing, I was wrong. I just realized just recently I corrected myself and realized that I was wrong talking about bringing in stuff to suppress CD38. I had some stuff that could really put the hammer into CD38, but I realized I was wrong. It has a purpose, you know, because I was acting very much in a reductionist way in my thinking there. And we have to admit, when we make mistakes, I made a mistake, you know, that I basically thought in a reductionist way. And I thought, how can I outsmart David Sinclair and come up with a better protocol, you know, dealing with this sort of stuff and getting around his problem and all that. And then I realized that some of these pathways have a purpose, and they have, you know, a purpose for being there. Your genes don't create them for no reasons. I'm coming more to the belief now that it's better to just create new bloody cells using something like this, like Cerule, actual new bloody cells that are basically are not going to interfere with these pathways. That's what I'm getting to realizing that, interfering with these pathways like David Sinclair does and all that, potentially is opening the body up to a lot of risks. And so now my other focus is in, okay, you're using Cerule. That is a very expensive option to basically fix senescence or to replace senescent cells. How can we basically take a smaller dose of Cerule to basically build new there, and also take certain other things in certain combinations to fix a lot of the senescent cells or get rid of them, cause apoptosis and remove them, and bring down naturally CD38 to basically make our cells more youthful for longer. That's where the new hacks or biohacks is what I'm trying to think in my head at the moment and looking at that sort of stuff. So, and that's the stuff you will get from me. I will be completely always evolving, and I'm never satisfied. Look, let me just teach you one thing to basically be able to differentiate between a scientist and a crackpot. A scientist is somebody that questions themselves continuously. Never just accepts, oh yeah, I've come up with the best idea. No, you've come up with the best, with the best, based on the information you've got, you've come up to the best understanding, not the best idea, the best understanding of the science at that moment. If you look further, you may find that some of those assumptions or views you had were completely wrong. And I've realized some of my ideas on CD38 are wrong. Most people don't know that out there. They don't even understand it. But I've realized by looking at all these different angles and realized, it actually has a reason to be there to prevent, it's protecting the body from those senescent cells becoming rogue and going cancerous or whatever. So, exactly. Very interesting, some of this stuff. When you push NAD pathways sometimes in a very unhealthy environment, you could potentially be causing cancer. So there are risks there. So, and even autophagy can be problematic as well. So, yeah, there's a lot of things that I'm starting to realize very differently. And that's the difference, a true researcher, a true scientist, whether you're a citizen scientist or an actual working in a scientific environment, you gotta always basically question yourself. You just don't take things at heart value, because it's really easy to make mistakes, really big mistakes with your health. So, we've got to be very careful the way we jump into things. Anyway, I'm still going through a lot of that information at the moment. I was going to do something on there, but I'm not yet. I want to get through all the research and be satisfied enough that I've exhausted every single avenue. I've gone down every single rabbit hole, and I haven't missed anything before I make a pronouncement saying, based on the best science, this is the way you can biohack yourself to much youthfulness or to maintain yourself for longer years in good health. So that's what I'll be doing, but I need to basically make sure that I've, covered I haven't missed anything, so I'm a bit like that. I'm pedantic. I know I do have that pedanticness, but you know what? By having that pedanticness, I'm actually being protective of you guys. I'm not leading you down a path without having really thoroughly looked into these sort of things, like a lot of other people do, unfortunately, because there's money to be made by selling you some magic pill of youth years. Not so magic when you really look into it. Anyway, Gates, the biggest farmland owner, yes, will be growing kibble for the masses. Yes. What's wrong with you, Bjorn? We need kibble. We need plenty of kibble. We don't get enough kibble. What's wrong with you? I asked about flour. I'll try any sort. I'll try and source it. Fair enough. Why not? You never know. Brothers, kids are carb junkies. Yeah, look, if you can get some stuff into them, yeah, it could be really good. That was the Italian study. Let's move on. Omega-6 are a concern eating monogastric animals like pigs and chickens. I feel best eating mostly ruminants. Good for you. Rats and mice. Yes. There's probably one thing only, and that could be the potential, not so much with pork, but with chicken in terms of deuterium, based on pork seems to basically deplete deuterium really well. So even though it can be on grain, it can still have lower than tallow in terms of deuterium. But chicken, I've seen all sorts of erratic numbers. It's not extreme or anything like that. If you have chicken once a week, not a bloody issue. But if you're going to have it free range, have something better quality when it comes to chicken. That's what I do anyway. Rats and mice, yes. Oh, get them out of here. Oh, well, that's nasty. That is nasty. Oh, yes. Oh, they started the vaccinations in Poland. Probably. Polish Constitution 30 in catch 39 regarding the new no medical experiments can be an obligation for government. Yes, which is good. People should voluntarily. They shouldn't be able to force people to do anything. And especially, look, if vaccines have gone through a proper long-term, and like with the vaccines which are for flu, which probably unless you're old and frail, you don't need, because basically if you've got good vitamin D status, even the flu vax is not required. But, if you're old and frail, yep, potentially would be a good idea. I mean, if I get into old age, I probably will take it on a regular basis to just update my thing just to keep me a bit better protected in that regard. But I know that that's been gone through the proper ethics and properly done. These have been rushed. And we know especially the mRNA ones, they come from the cancer research. I'm not saying that they're going to cause cancer or anything like that, but they did cause some autoimmune sort of things. And that's another reason why they didn't really work anyway. That's why they were withdrawn. These guys have invested shitloads of money. They want to double down, and that's why they use that technology in this. So I'm less interested in that at all. So the AstraZeneca is closer to the traditional flu type vaxes. If somebody's got has easy anaphylaxis and stuff like that, it may be an issue for those people. For most of us, it won't be. But if you're on vitamin D, do you need it? Probably not. But if you need to travel, it may be the only alternative to take. It's one of those things. That's for your personal choice. Like, everyone is a free person to decide depending on their families, their finances, their obligations to their work environment, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? It's not for me. It shouldn't be mandatory. It shouldn't be imposed, obviously, because that only happens in a dictatorial system. Look, it's a mixed bag. I don't subscribe to the notion that these vaccines are necessarily dangerous. It's just basically that they haven't been thoroughly tested, and all vaccines will have some effect. If you were to look like polio, or you want to look like in yellow fever, or tuberculosis, or measles, or whatever, when you look at the research, there is no association with any of these stupid outcomes that people talk about. They don't exist. And I told you last time about measles and mumps and all that. The Japanese in Osaka did it for 2 years. Autism rates still kept on going up at the same rate. When they actually reintroduced and people started vaccinating even at a higher rate, they didn't increase at all. They just stayed at the steady state that they were. There's no association, or not even a good association, let alone causation that you can infer. But there are some people, small number of people, that do react badly. And the biggest issue is potential autoimmunity in certain groups of people. Not everyone, but in certain groups of people. And I don't see it as a necessity. If something isn't going to kill you and you can mitigate it with other strategies, why take it? But if it was something lethal like Ebola or something like that, or, like an outbreak, a massive outbreak of measles, or basically, some very dangerous thing that will kill you. You've got to weigh things and say, well, between getting some anaphylaxis or getting some issue, minor issue, compared to outweighing being dead, there's a time. I'm not an anti-vaxxer, I weigh things and say, is it necessary or not? And that's how I approach it. When I actually look at the anti-vax information, it's bullshit, especially the MMR. That is absolutely nonsense. Actually, with the mumps part, the reason why the young kids aren't getting COVID is the ones that have been vaccinated with the MMR or you look at the specific year, 96, where they were born within that period, slightly a couple of years earlier to be in that 96 range when the vaccine was done. Those kids are immune to COVID because some of the protein characteristics of the mumps part is very similar to other coronaviruses, and it seems to be providing some protectiveness for these kids because they have better immune response, and it prevents them from actually taking hold in their body because of that. And the younger kids that actually are getting it, it's usually people that maybe their parents hadn't vaccinated them. We haven't looked at the data, but it's a strong possibility. It's probably the reason why we didn't see, because even the flu, everybody gets it. This one was very funny, strange. Only adults were getting it from a specific age. So that mumps and all that is probably the reason why they didn't get it. So they had some protectiveness. That's why vaccines can provide certain protectiveness, but they're not always necessary. And too many things, like too much hormesis or anything, can be a problem to us. We need to be balanced on these things, not illogical or emotive and all that. And I always say, show me the data. My biggest problem is with the current vaccines is I don't know how dangerous they are or what sort of problems they could actually produce or whatever. I'm concerned that there hasn't been enough work done. They've been basically pushed much faster than they should when there are other strategies. There's ivermectin, there's vitamin D, high doses. There's other strategies that can actually help. Why the rush? Especially something that hasn't been thoroughly tested. That's where my concern comes from. But that's my take on it anyway. Yes, I wouldn't take the mRNA one at all, to be, even if I don't, because I usually vaccinate quite a bit on other things, tropical diseases and all sorts of other things. But I would definitely, if I had to take anyone, I definitely wouldn't take the mRNA one, I can tell you. Yes, that's the most problematic out of all of them, let alone it's the most expensive. Fucking hell, Pfizer's just, they're trying to double. They spent so much in the cancer research, zero usage for it, and now they're bringing it across to try and recoup their costs and make a bit of a profit on the side as well. Yeah, it's nothing like a crisis to exploit from these multinational big pharma. Old people die. That's probably already had one for the grave. Yeah, look, most people at that age are more vulnerable. It's the reason why 10 people in Germany and 23 people, I think it was in Norway, died from the vaccine. It's because they would have had a strong immune response. It's a bit like if they give me morphine when I was in hospital for my kidney stone, not an issue, but they give an older person morphine, same dose, potentially could kill them because their body's so weak and frail. And so that's why I couldn't understand, these people basically are at risk. If they get the virus, their immune response could kill them. If you vaccinate them and they actually create an immune response, it also could potentially, because they're vulnerable. Yes, it won't be as big a response as the real thing, but it's still the vulnerable. Wouldn't it be better just to basically, up their vitamin D and give them ivermectin, stuff like that would be far more protective and cheaper and safer probably for them. And if you're going to basically give them the damn thing in that vulnerable state, at least fucking up their vitamin D, give them ivermectin and other things to sort of especially vitamin D, which, moderates and doesn't, keeps under control the actual immune response. So it doesn't overexpress, so I don't know who's advising these people at all, but, they've got no fucking idea what they're doing. Honestly, they have no friggin' idea. It's just they get the little positions because they know one politician or another, and then they think they can boss people around and think they're the expert. Typical shit. Different day. Years. Ah, yes. Nothing like having feelings in government, but they have the wrong ones. Pedantic. We know you're pedantic. Regularly, vitamin D. I looked at the Spanish study. Yep, that one that I talked about. Yeah, some time ago. Yeah, immediately used exactly. That was actually an active form, and that was the actual 125, the active form, and they actually provided 200. So, in order to get to those levels, you would have to be doing at least 10,000 IUs for about 3 weeks, and then get the virus and still continue, and that would give you a similar effect. Sorry, what did I say? Not 20,000 IUs, in that regard for those 3 months, and that would give you a similar effect. So that's the sort of level you'd have to take. That was the active form. They were. It's not like the supplemental form, which that has to be converted and then to 25 OHD, and then via the kidneys to be converted again to 125, the active form. So sometimes, especially older people, may have certain kidney issues. So much more important to basically deal with it in a different way. Exactly. Why the rush? Exactly. Precisely. Yes, money, exactly. When there are alternatives. Money and sort of panic from governments. Governments just want this issue going away, and they don't care about the consequences. They never have. Yeah, I know. Look, it's hard to bloody get. Yeah, I've looked at a couple of links. I think I've posted. I don't know whether did I post some for you, Dom, or whatever. A few people around the place, and some people said they couldn't get it through their country. Yeah, it's a bit of a miss and hit. Some people can, some people can't. Yeah, it's maybe people should on Discord ask. I know in Brazil they've got access to it. Yeah, whether they can get it through there. It's hard. Don't get it in high doses. Get it in the lower doses. That's what you really need. And you're supposed to take it the first day, the third day, not the second, the third day. And then if you've still got symptoms, on the 6th day, take it again. And on the 8th day, that's how it's done. Yes. Anyway, nanocontamination, all sorts of trace minerals. Look, there's the amount that's unimportant. Actually, that's unimportant. The all that sort of small contaminants and all that, yeah, that's probably piss poor. But your body can actually detox. I mean, you sit behind an exhaust of a vehicle, and the amount of heavy metals and other things you'll take up in a very polluted environment will be much more. And your body can cope with detoxifying through P450 in your liver. That's not a non-issue, Sam. Don't worry about that. It's the biological stuff in there that potentially in some people could cause autoimmune issues. It's a completely different. That's just a red herring. I know people talk about all the little contaminants and all that. Oh yeah, probably the worst out of all of them would be Moderna. Moderna doesn't actually. They actually do it out of a facility that it's actually like a different facility. It's not one of theirs. It's a facility that's owned by a different company who is one of those companies that makes generic stuff, which is piss poor. And that company has been, even by the FDA, has actually gone through a number of, like notices from the, so Moderna is probably the worst out of all of them in terms of quality control. Yes, they're piss poor. Anyway, yes, there's a lot of bullshit being swallowed. You can actually get it. Yeah, you don't want it as an injectable. You want it as a pill. Those are the doses are far too high. They're specifically for animals. I'll see what information I can get. I've struggled to get information for everyone. It's a damn hassle trying to find some of this information. In some parts you can find it, in other parts it's just an absolute bloody hassle. I've come up with some links and they didn't work, or you need to go through a VPN, like a virtual private network. But then the problem is whether your government will intercept it. I've had stuff intercepted by the Australian government coming in from overseas, and they say, well, you can't take this because it's that. I had one which apparently, because it helps your androgens. So if you want a natural way of actually improving your androgens without taking testosterone or anything like, or taking basically anabolic steroids or anything like that. It was just a natural thing that I was trying to get for my father. And they intercepted it and didn't get through. This basically just naturally is a compound that actually improves your own, androgens, it just pushes all this sort of stuff up on its own. And it's good for older people, because you don't want basically artificial testosterone, because that downregulates your own. Not very good idea at all. And you don't want basically steroids or anything like that. They're very unhealthy at all. So, but it got intercepted at the border, and so it's you can buy it in America, but try and get it over here. The Nazis at the customs of Border Force, yes, Border Force Australia, intercepted it and took it out of the system because it could potentially give an old man a boner. We can't have that. Old men should not be getting boners. Not a good thing. So poor dad has to play with himself and hope that one day he can get back his youth. Unfortunately, he will basically have to persist with what he's got. What can one say? I had to turn to comedy. When I actually called them and all that, I literally had to turn to comedy with them. It was so ridiculous. Let alone I got the runaround. We apologise, and all that. And, if you want your money back, you have to go through all this process just to get some dollars back. And I'll go, And luckily, the actual company realised that it got intercepted. They said, look, we didn't realise that the Australian government was intercepting this product. So they gave me back my money, which was good, luckily. So I got lucky with that one. In my other mate, he's had unluckiness where he's had stuff and he wasn't able to get any compensation, which is a drag. But it was something that I was looking at, not experimenting. I shouldn't use that word, experimenting on Dad. He's not the experimental animal, George Serpanos. Yes. Anyway, Dad, I wanted to see, I thought it would actually help Dad. And it was something that I'd say, look, when I get into my later years, it's probably something that I would consider taking, to give myself a bit of a, but, who knows? Maybe I'm not in Australia in later years and I don't have to worry about the Australian Border Force and their interceptions. Yes. Damn. They are annoying. Difficult to obtain because it's old meds. Yeah, exactly. No patent. Yeah, I know. Yes, medical oxymoron. I know, it's pathetic. Yes. Yes. No, yes, it was one of those sort of, I can't remember which one it was, because I tried to try and get them through, but the other people told me, no, you can't, Australia won't accept that. So pretty much, if you're not going and getting hormone replacement from your doctor, any other thing that can improve your testosterone levels, without being this sort of garbage, that rather than actually supporting your own endogenous production, no, we'll give you something to suppress your manliness. So we can give you the thing that you're then hooked on it for life, to have to cough up money to buy it. That's the problem. It's a protection racket. That's what it is. That's how I see it anyway. So, yes, let's say I'm investigating other potential ways. Yes, Dad will have to wait. We'll see. Yes, I won't go into it too much. I'm not breaking the law. Yes, it drives me up the bloody wall with these characters. They are really annoying, to say the least. Nothing like sculling cold milk. Switch over to the kombucha. Some light drink. Yes. Yeah, it's a question of whether, Bjorn, it's a question of basically whether you can actually get the sort of stuff in Australia. I haven't gone through the extensive list. It's a long and colourful list. Let me put it that way. If you go to the Border Force Australia site, the list is endless. All these different things that are not allowed to, that can be intercepted, that are not allowed in the country. And if you look at some of the stuff, you go, this is a plant compound. Why is this illegal? I mean, I could actually grow the damn plant and actually, do it myself. It's just too hard. But you know what I'm getting at? Why is it, it's just, so, yep, I know that. Yeah, that's why he's on L-citrulline for the time being. Yeah, look, the best thing is L-citrulline, because the problem with arginine is when you take arginine, the liver can be quite a hog and take up quite a bit of it. Some of the organs can be hoggish in the way they can, especially the liver, when it comes to arginine. But L-citrulline, on the other hand, because remember, at the cell wall, you can actually have precursors that can be converted to L-citrulline, go into the bloodstream. So basically, I give him L-citrulline. No different than the stuff here, L-citrulline malate, which gets converted by our dear kidneys into basically arginine, and then basically goes through and creates nitric oxide, and also does a whole lot of other colourful things in also improving some of the other receptors that it can be used for. So it's not only nitric oxide, but there is that method of doing it. Yes, Melina, supplement contraband. Yes, I know. It's crazy. The world we live in, you can actually go to a doctor and get a piece of junk that can actually poison your mitochondria, like statins. But if you basically take a supplement that can actually upregulate or just improve the performance of part of your own natural ability to produce certain things, no, we can't have that. Oh, God, no, we can't have that. Your goat, you want a boner? What the fuck's going on? So we definitely can't have that. And so, yes, unfortunately. Did you do 3 videos last week? I was looking at your L-arginine one, but I can't find it now. I withdrew that. I'm going to put it back again. I have to do because YouTube is being a bit nasty, and they've been taking down sites that are giving medical advice. So, but sort of warned me, and so I withdrew that. See, a lot of the other stuff that I do is just talking about the research and pathways, but that one I actually gave people some medical advice, like how much dosages and stuff like that. So what I need to do is take, I'm going to repost it, but the front part of it, I just haven't got around doing it. I was so busy this week, as I said. I'll be doing it next week. It'll come back again. Some people saw it, about 100 people. It'll be reposted, fresh with the front part. I need to do a video, which I haven't done yet, which actually just provides a statement about medical advice and all that, indemnifies, all that crap. And the last part where the dosage is, I have to change that. Luckily, that was an appendix. So I've got the main video. That's not going to change. It's just the other two parts. They're going to be joined to it at the front and at the end. And that end part will be basically me giving the dosages, but giving them in a way where I say, if I had this, this is what I would do. This is not what I recommend. You should go to a doctor, blah, 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 just to cover my ass in terms of though, because YouTubia is becoming quite lethal, and I don't want to lose my channel. And that's why I withdrew it, because I was getting, I didn't want to be taken out. So, all I needed some arsehole to basically just dob me into YouTube, especially a vegan. And yes, so basically that's why I put it in the private. It's still there. It's just private. And I just need to basically repost it and add the front part and the end part, and slightly change the end part and add a front part with a medical sort of disclaimer, and then it's fine. It'll get reposted, and I will use the same disclaimer in future when I do these sort of types protocols and how to deal with that, especially when we're talking about heart conditions, stuff like that. These are emotive things, or the stuff that I'm going to do in the future with like brain stuff and Alzheimer's and all that. You got to put these things, because if you don't, there's always the risk of takedown, and potentially not only takedown of the video, but takedown of the channel as well. So, if you're small, YouTube doesn't give a shit, then they can be quite nasty. So I wouldn't want to lose my channel at this stage. So I'm just being a bit cautious, especially the stuff that Bart's been telling me, sort of probably making me a bit hyper vigilant in that regard. So that's the real reason for it. Yes, you'll have to wait until next week, and then it will be available. So, yes, cheers. I actually quite like this kombucha. Only 6 calories, 0 sugar. It's pretty much, it's quite nice. And it's got one of the beneficial bacteria. Wish it had more strains, but, it's just water and a bit of, flavouring and stuff like that. So it's nothing to write home about or whatever. But, yeah, it's not too bad. Anyway, guys, since Bart hasn't turned up, he's decided to give it a miss. He's probably been caught up with other things. I'm going to pull the tube on this one. Nah, not this one. This has only got 6 calories, no sugar whatsoever. This is basically sugar-free. It's got none whatsoever. So that's what it looks like. And there you go, if you can see that. 6 calories per serve, which is per bottle. It's basically fuck all. Water and some sort of colouring type thing, giving a flavour thing, and possibly it possibly does, but it only has 6 calories, which is fuck all. So you're not going to get much from alcohol sugars in terms of that. It's not sweet, I can tell you. It would have to have far more sugar, alcohol, if it was to make it sweet. Plus, even sugar alcohol has some caloric effect. So it is bugger all. Nothing to worry about, basically, in that regard. Quick, nice apple pear. Ginger's quite the nice flavour. Yeah, basically. It's just you can actually get a few different type of varieties as well. There's a cream soda, and an apple cider vinegar one my friend likes. Luckily, they don't put a lot of apple cider vinegar because, as a drink, it's not something you can still taste it slightly. It's not bad. It doesn't combine too badly. The cream soda does have a nice flavour to it, anyway. But that's me. Anyway, guys, I'm going to pull the plug, and it's been a busy week for me with work and everything else, and I'm going to fuck off and call it a night. And thanks for being here. Appreciate it. And take care. And we will chat. There'll be a live stream next week. And the next Eurasian one will be on the 7th next month. So the next Eurasian one will be on the 7th. Next month, I'm going to do a different type of thing. It's going to be 4 weeks only for that month. And so what I'll be doing at that stage, g'day, mate, where have you been? Oh, God, Dr. Gregor, where have you been, man? We've missed you. You're late. Dust us for you, mate. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and actually next month do, you're welcome, mate. I'm going to try and do like a 2.5 hour, 2.5 hour, 2.5 hour to get my 20 hours. And so I will do next month both a daytime 2.5 hours and a nighttime Eurasian one 2.5 hours. So, which is nearly about what it is now, about nearly 221, nearly 222. And I'm going to do, late to the party, mate. Late to the party. You missed a lot. You're welcome, Melina. So what I will be doing is doing like 2.5 hours, because I do want to cover people from Europe that are always, missing out, like, Dom, Angela, Alex, and many others. You guys tend not to be around on the day thing. I think the Australasian crowd will enjoy having double dipping on the day. So all that sort of stuff. And that's, I'm going to give that a bit of a try. Yep, it's going to be going 2.5 hours every stream. So the morning one, 2.5 hours, the evening one, 2.5 hours, and that'll be basically every Sunday there'll be a Eurasian one and the standard live stream, the daytime, which covers North America and Australasia. So that's a deliberate thing to try and actually provide more equal time to people, because sometimes people in parts of Europe, parts of Asia are asleep when I do the early morning one and miss out an opportunity. And then they have to wait for quite a few weeks before they get a chance to ask questions. And so, I'm trying to basically give all my subs around the world a bit of fairness in the amount of time they get with me is what I'm trying to do. And you're welcome, Melina. And I think, it's just going to be a shorter 2.5 hours. It's still quite a bit. It's not 3 hours like traditionally 3+ hours. 2.5 hours is just half an hour earlier, but it means that that extra half hour allows me to do more. And it will probably on the weeks where there were 5 weeks, I'll be doing only 2 hours, so I can cover both the daytime and do the same thing. And I want to see how that actually works and plays out and provides more people with more access, an opportunity to ask questions. What speaks against parallel streaming on alternative platforms? It's really hard to do it through the way StreamYard's set up. And so there's other platforms as well. I haven't actually looked into them yet. I need to at some stage. But remember, I do have a day job and I don't have the same luxury time that Bart and everybody else has that are doing full-time this sort of stuff. So it's not always easy for me. And so it's the same thing like, whole week and I was just so busy with so many things. I just didn't have time to edit that other video to repost it. It's just, just the way it is. Sometimes I have a number of days where I've got a lot of time, and you've seen me on those days. I'm prolific, like at the beginning of the week, you may see a whole lot of videos and say, what the hell just happened? Harry's just popped out a whole lot of videos. Yep. I was probably at home. I flexed off for the day. I had too much flex built up. So I had to take the day off on the Monday. So I was at home and I just said, oh, fuck it. I went for, did a video, then went for a walk, came back, did another video, whatever, and then just posted them over the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or some even in the evening. But that's just because I happen to have the time. It's just simple as that. If I don't have the time and I'm very busy with other things, it's not a full-time job, as you know. So that's why it's, my posts are erratic. Sometimes there's a lot, sometimes there's very little. Sometimes I've done stuff and I haven't had the time to edit them or sort them out or stuff like that. I'll add things and I've left them in folders and they just stay there, and then I'll post quite a few of them. But currently I've only got that one, and there's another one that I did start it and I didn't like it. It just didn't sound right, and I said I deleted it, and I want to redo that one. It's just, it was trying to be a short one, but I won't go into it anyway. It was just, sometimes you look at it, you listen to it after and you go, that just sounds like shit. It just doesn't come across as very informative. It's too wishy-washy or too out there. And that was just basically, sometimes you go, I don't want to have to go through all these studies and read them and do that, and just and then you realize it's just piss poor. So I just abandoned it. So that's how it goes. You're late. Just about to go. You can always watch this after. Anyway, guys, thanks for being here. See yous. I'm out of here. Until next week. Bye.